I'm calling this video Two-Tier Kier and Britain's legal hypocrisy. Tier 1. Protesters who throw paint at weapons. They go to jail for 14 years. Tier 2. Arms dealers, war financiers, the people who are literally bankrolling genocide. Oh, they don't face any criminal charges. They get a tax break. The Labour Party under Keir Starmer received £2 million from Trevor Chin, a Zionist financier deeply involved in the military-industrial complex. Yvette Cooper, Labour's Home Secretary, has taken at least £165,000 from companies with very close, too close for comfort Yvette, links to defence and security. This is a brazen double standard. So damage an RAF plane, go to jail for terrorism, but fund bombs being dropped on civilians in tents. That's legitimate business. The real extremism here is using anti-terror law as your narrative shield. This is not about safety, it's about silencing dissent. Yvette Cooper, you sold yourself very cheap, love. All these people give a fuck about is protecting war profits and their Zionist cronies' financial interests in the City of London. Under Two-Tier Kier, welfare cuts deepen poverty, while corporate tax loopholes widen inequality. Protesters are labelled terrorists, genocidal maniacs, bankers financing genocide. They get state protection. Under Two-Tier Kier, the universal credit health top-up was frozen for 6 years and then halved for new claimants after 2026. This was a direct cut for the monthly support of sick and disabled people all over the country who were receiving £97 and who will now receive £50. Meanwhile, he delivers a permanent 100% full expensing tax write-off on plant and machinery firms who now get to deduct the whole cost up front. If you are in the plant and machinery business, this has saved you 25% on tax savings every year. Keir Starmer introduced tougher tests on PIP. This was aimed at blocking thousands of claims. Meanwhile, they capped corporation tax at 25% for the entire parliament. Rachel Reeves is promising the lowest headline rate in the G7. For big business, this is great news as it locks in low-risk certainty. The government is bailing them out. Meanwhile, they kept the 2-child benefit cap, which denies support, pretends you don't have a 3rd or 4th child or anything after that. This is pushing 109 people every day into poverty. There are already 1.2 million British children affected directly by this. However, they've somehow found £2 billion extra in lending capacity for UKEF, UK Export Finance, colonial structure again. They back defence contractors. The total pot is now £10 million, and there's a fresh plan to up it to £13 billion. Starmer talks a lot about trying to save £5 billion on benefits. This is attacking low-income households directly. However, the cost of corporation tax benefits to the UK taxpayer is estimated at least £30 million a year in lost revenue. Labour is signalling its intention to add more sanctions, more red tape, more admin violence. If you are under 22 or long-term sick, you now have to prove with stricter work tests that you are not able to work. The pattern of Two-Tier Kier in the Labour government is to squeeze the welfare to find the billions to give to your corporate cronies. Protect the city at all costs through UKEF lending, permanent tax perks like non-dom, and a locked-in low corporation tax rate. They hand out a substantial amount of taxpayer money on reliefs and credits and export guarantees to corporations, especially arms firms. The result of the Two-Tier Kier system in British politics, God help him, it rhymes, and so that's what history will remember him as, but he inherited the two-tier system. Poor guy. He is no different to any politician that's come before him. He's just unfortunately in the chair as the mask comes off, and you cannot pretend that this is legitimate. Since Labour took power, a disabled claimant has lost 50 quid a month, while BAE Systems was able to write off £200 million just to cut its tax bill by £50 million. The Treasury says it cannot afford £3 billion to scrap the child poverty cap. Yet it somehow was able to find £2 billion just to make sure that the UK can sell missiles in new markets. 4 activists who painted on a plane face terror indictments, while Barclays is able to hold Elbit shares with no legal risk. A 19-year-old who oversleeps their job centre appointment will now lose their entire allowance for a month, while Quadracor, a Cayman Island-based investment firm, gets to write Labour a big fat check and win frozen corporation tax certainty for themselves. If you film a blockade, you may be inviting support for terrorism. But if you send Israel F-35 parts, it's okay. You're not a terrorist. You're not a criminal. In fact, you didn't even need to pay tax. In fact, we'll give you money. Extract from the bottom, shovel it to the top, and criminalise, silence anyone who resists.